obviously, we're going to get started by going back to this past Friday night. Here we go. This is our play of the week. So talk to us about what we're seeing here. Walk us through it. The Rattlers punt to the Hornets down 16-13. Welcome to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, live from San Marcos High School and the Rattler Broadcast Studios, and exclusively on the home for Rattler Nation events, the Rattler Up Network. This is where you've got to watch every week to keep track of all things Rattler Nation. I'm your host, CJ Odom, and with me as always, head coach of and athletic director, John Walsh. Coach, welcome into Rattler Up.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, this week on Rattler Up, we're going to preview the incredible 2025 season from Rattler football, the highs, the lows, all the excitement. And of course, we're going to be joined live in studio by Coach Dan Miller and members of the boys basketball team. Coach, we're going to talk the season a little bit, but you've done this for a long, long time. The end of a season just never gets any easier, does it?
Oh, never does. And even when you win the last game, there's a sense of finality that you don't want to be there because you love what you do. And when you don't get to coach in those ball games, you grind. Football's not an easy sport to practice,
right?
Because you got to put on pads, you got to be physical, and you live for those Friday nights, and there's not many of them. So to extend your season as long as you can is always a good thing and a good feeling. But the day after's when your season's over is never a great feeling.
Never a great feeling. Like you've said before, only one team doesn't have to experience that.
That's exactly
at the end of the year. So, we're going to come and talk about all that here later on in Rattler Up. But right now, we're going to talk a little bit boys basketball in a little bit. But right now, we're going to continue to look at some other things we've got going on in other sports, because we're talking this is a busy time of year, right, with all that's going on with soccer getting tryouts. We were just talking about it off air. So we're going to talk boys basketball in a little bit. We'll talk with them and get all the details with them. But for the girls basketball, they continue to roll in their pre-district schedule on a 2-game win streak currently after beating United South 50-29 and Churchill 55-36 in games over the Thanksgiving break. They're currently 10-5 overall, with just 4 games remaining before district starts for them on December 19th. So, Coach, this team's really moving along pretty much exactly how you'd want it at this point in the season, correct?
Right. He went to a good tournament up there in Dallas and talked to Coop on the way back, and he felt that they're not only did they perform well, but they're doing little things that he didn't think would be taken care of this early in the season. So you can tell by their staff they like where they're at, and the important thing is that you pace that season the right way. You don't want to be as good as you said. We got 4 games to a district, right? We don't want to be district good just yet. We want to be district good when district gets here.
Well, that pacing thing is such an important thing with the scheduling, right? Like you said, you want to be district good, you want to get in the tournament one way or the other, and then you want to be hot when that tournament starts.
Absolutely. Right? I think the good ones in whatever sport in the state of Texas are the ones that understand that. The guys that come out and want to be great in front of the home crowd the first 2 times they come in the home crowd, or you don't understand that piece of build momentum of a season. And I wish I could write a book on momentum, whether it was game momentum or a season momentum. Man, it's the secret sauce in sports.
Right. Well, momentum is being built right now by the wrestling team. I reached out to Coach Smith, and just kind of they're in a really early part of their season, so not a lot of invalid, a lot of details to report necessarily. But his words from Coach Smith, he said wrestling's working hard, improving every week. We have an inexperienced team to start the season. However, they're growing and meeting their milestones. So with continued dedication and hard work, we expect to make some noise in the district tournament. Talk about when you have that inexperience factor weighing in. I think in any sport, how do you handle that as a coach?
Well, wrestling's new to me since I've been here for 5 or 6 years. What I've learned with Garvin is you better book a room at the state tournament because he's in it every single year. So as he has an experience, he's about the most experienced guy we got at San Marcos. So he'll
finds a way.
He'll have him there ready to go.
Right. So we checked in with golf, and Coach EJ Mugio talked with us a little bit about what's going on with golf. Lots of exciting things going on. Boys just wrapped up their fall season. They'll move on, of course, in the spring, have their tournament, the district tournament, but they wrapped up this fall season at Yalpin Country Club. Jackson Murphy led the team with an 86. He was just 4 strokes off his season best 82, which he shot at Shadow Glen. Coach let us know that Michael Lancaster and Kyle Hicks have both broken 90 multiple times this fall, and the team as a whole posted their best score in 3 years back in September with a 355 at Plum Creek. So boys golf out and running, and girls, they actually won the Land of Park tournament just here at the end of October there. Freshman Katie Lowe has been leading the way. She's won 2 tournaments this far with a shooting a 74 at Land of Park and a 78 at Cola Vista in Bastrop. So, Coach, what's the feel of the golf tournament? The golf team, they're really blowing up here on both the boys and girls end.
Yeah, and I think first, just watching EJ build that program, you know, there might have been 4 or 5 golfers when he took it over, and then now he gets a busload going out to the courses and for practice. So yeah, he's done a great job. He's passionate about the sport, and we got some golfers now. We got some guys that can. And evidently a gal that can really swing that club if she's shooting low 70.
Well, it's such an interesting thing for those 2 sports specifically. They're not the only ones, but for you, like, you know, it's pretty rare you get a kid their 9th grade year that's never played a down of football in their life.
Right.
By the time they get to you in 9th grade, right? Every kid has played baseball by the time they get there. Every kid's played basketball by the time they get there. But in golf and in wrestling and a couple of our other sports, they're oftentimes getting an athlete 9th grade year that has literally never played, doesn't even know how to play that sport
for the very first time. And I've watched him. You know, we pull the cages down in the sack indoor, and he'll put a match down and he'll hit golf balls. I've watched the kid say, "Hey, Gomez for baseball said I can play a little golf." All right, he throws the mat down, gets the club, and he just, you know, he can tell if it's got that swing's got a chance or not got a chance. So yeah, it is. You know, we're not. We don't have courses in San Marcos.
Right.
You know, there's not a whole lot of golfing going on unless you reach out and go get out of town.
All right, well, with all that going on, a lot of eyes are also looking ahead to a date, Coach, in February, where the UIL will announce the alignment for the next 2 years. For many, that can mean moving from 6A to 5A, from 3A to 4A. For most, it means some kind of redistricting, at least of some sort. So, Coach, we seem to be moved around quite a bit. We've talked about it in previous seasons. We're always either the northernmost school of the San Antonio district or the southernmost school of an Austin district. What are some of your expectations for that February announcement based on at least what you've seen so far?
You know, it is always a secret, but there are 2 guys in the state of Texas that get it close to being right, and that's Carl Padilla and Matt Stepp. They were both in Corpus Christi, and they break it down by numbers, by schools.
Yeah, and they put the research in.
Yeah, and it really makes sense for what they're telling me is kicking East Central out. We go to an 8-team district, and we bring in Hayes, and Wagner's going up to 6A. So it looks like it'd be the same district we have, kick out East Central, throw in Hayes, throw in Wagner, and we got an 8-team district. You know, now, are they always right? No, but it does make sense.
Right.
You know, the number I look at being in Region 4 is I want to be in that District 29 still, where we go south for the playoffs for a couple rounds, you know, and not have to hit, you know, for football, Westlake, and or even, it doesn't matter what sport, you know, Westlake and the Lake Travis.
By district versus regional semis.
Where you hit it right now. Either put me in a district with them so we can sort it out and now have to play them first, or let's go south for a few rounds.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big talk, right? So February, a long ways away, but it's obviously like those 2 names you mentioned. It was some of their Twitter feed that I was seeing, and people were asking questions. And that's why we brought it up here tonight. Oh, yeah. So we'll definitely be following that come February and break that down for us. But we're gonna head to commercial break. But when we return, we're gonna be joined live in studio by Coach Miller and members of the boys basketball team. And after that, we will break down the incredible 2025 Rattler football season. All that and more when we return on Rattler Up here on the Rattler Network. We are back on the Rattler Up Network, the exclusive home of live broadcast events, sports, and shows from the Rattler Nation, including here on Rattler Up with Coach Walsh. Please make sure to give a like and a subscribe to the Rattler Up Network. And appropriately, as we're about to be visited by our boys basketball team, we got a big event coming up. We're going to be live broadcasting the tournament this weekend on the Rattler Up Network. So we're excited to bring that to us and let people watch as many games of basketball as they want across Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But now we're going to turn our attention to those members of the boys basketball team, along with their head coach, Coach Dan Miller. Dan, welcome into Rattler Up. Glad for having you back.
Thank you for having me.
We were joking at the commercial break. You've been here and done that, so I'm supposed to level up the questions. But
hey, you're the best.
The idea is make us look good here. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, the season's certainly under early, just 5 games in to the pre-district schedule. The boys have gotten wins over Crockett and an OT win over John Paul, and they'll begin some tournament play over the next coming weeks with district beginning in January. So what is your goal right now as head coach for the team as you head into this tournament portion of your schedule?
Yeah, like Coach Walsh said, you want to be building momentum throughout the season. We have a very tough district. So when we get to January and February basketball, we want to be playing our best basketball. Mm-hmm. And we have an interesting team. We have great kids, but not a lot of experience when it comes to varsity. Mm-hmm. So a lot of our guys were on the JV as juniors, and now they're seniors on varsity or sophomores on JV. And then we have 2 freshmen, Titan and Havard, on our team. Mm-hmm. So it's a new team to varsity. So you can just see each game, the experience that they're gaining. We started out losing our first 2 games, but a real close game to a good Medina Valley team who's 7-1, and then got a big win on the road against John Paul, and they're a good team.
And we've talked, Coach Walsh and I've talked before, and I think even you and I've talked in previous Rattler Ups about, that pre-district schedule is so important. It's about not just about where you play, but who you play, why you're playing. And obviously you're playing every game for a W, but there's so much more than the W in these pre-district games. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's about building chemistry. And then even as coaches, we talk about finding out about our guys, learning our guys a little bit, because it's the first time they've been on varsity, and just seeing, the right lineups. And so we're all learning each other and having fun doing it. We took it on the chin a little bit against Hayes the other day. They came in and shot really well and had a couple good players in. But tomorrow night will be a great challenge. We're going to Piper. We're looking forward to seeing what we can do there.
Awesome. Now, clearly the biggest upgrade, unequivocally, the biggest upgrade you made to the team in the offseason was the addition of Coach Wack to your coaching staff. And so besides that, what other changes are fans going to see if they come in and watch some men's basketball this year?
Well, Coach Wack was a great addition. He's now in his 2nd year technically, but his 1st year coaching his own team, and he's doing a good job with our freshman teams.
First year getting paid.
First year getting paid. Yes, earning his check, because he does the A and the B team. And then we moved Coach Flores to be just with the varsity, so he could be full-time my assistant, always with me, which helps a lot. And DeMarcus is doing great with the JV. And you can. One thing about our guys is I just say too is they come and they play hard every night. And as a coach, that's what you can ask. If at the end of the day on the scoreboard, the other team has a little bit more, they're a little bit more talented or whatever it is, if our guys play hard, play together, that's what we ask every night, and they've been doing that for the most part.
Awesome. Well, let's meet who you brought in here. Some players representing the team here today. Brought in 3 seniors. We'll just start here on the left and let you introduce yourselves. Let everybody know your name, what grade you're in, the position you play, and also other things you do here at San Marcos High School.
My name is Jordan Bernal. I'm a senior, and I'm the point guard of the team. Some things I do in the school are just hang out with my friends. I'm in kinesiology, getting my CPT, and just pretty much it.
My name's Ernest Lozano. I'm a senior. I play shooting guard for the basketball team, and I just do work and play basketball.
Peter Aguilar. I'm a guard here at San Marcos, and I just hoop.
All right. Well, let me talk to all 3 of you about this one. So, we're real early in the season, obviously. Like he was talking about, some new experiences for a lot of the players. So I'd like all 3 of you, we'll go right down the line again. What are you most excited about for this season? So Jordan, we'll start with you on the end there.
Most excited is just playing people better than us. Like, I love competing against people better than me, especially like in practice. Sometimes I like being on opposite teams of them just so I could like play the better players. Just make myself better altogether.
Awesome.
All right. I'm just really excited, just bonding with my teammates and making good chemistry and just like working together to get wins on the season.
Probably just playing together and just having fun and winning games.
Awesome. That makes it all worth it, right? In the end. All right, we'll jump back down to you, Jordan. You said you're in the exercise science program, right? Working on that certified personal trainer, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, you, according to Max Prep, so my Max Prep stats aren't always the best, but according to Max Prep's leading the team in assists and steals so far. So great job there. What do you think this team needs to focus on during tournament play?
During tournament, just getting better, getting ready for upcoming district, and overall just playing together and sharing the ball. And that's pretty much it.
All right. So Ernie, again, Max Prep shows you're leading the team in 3-pointers made. And so for you as a senior, how do you have to be a leader for the rest of the team? And how do you plan on doing that?
Just being a senior, I have the most experience playing basketball, so I got to help the freshmen, just building them up, building their confidence up, and just helping them.
Is it hard to remember what it was like to be a freshman?
Yeah, it's a hard time to remember.
All right, so Peter, you're our team rebound leader so far, right? So what are some of the biggest challenges you feel like this team will have to overcome this year, especially when you get into district play?
Probably just staying together and with our box outs and stuff, rebounds. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so I want to know from all three of you then just your goals for the season, but also your goals after you graduate high school. And so we'll go the other way this time. Peter, we'll start with you and work our way down. So your goals for the season, but also what you plan on doing after you graduate from San Marcos High School.
My goals for the season is to have a winning record. What else? Just have fun with my teammates, bond with them. And then after high school, probably just work. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Ernie?
Well, I just making a bond with my brothers, like memories for a lifetime, just playing basketball with them. Stuff like this is the first team, this is my last team as a high school player. So it's just making an experience, and then I'll probably just head off to college after high school.
Very cool.
Just creating those new experiences. I've been playing with Peter and Ern since we were 8 years old. So just making those new memories and doing it together and hopefully getting those wins. And then after, I would like to go into something sports related, like personal training, getting my CPT, or even being a coach, really. Just anything in the field.
Okay. Awesome. I can definitely see that. Coach, can you see Coach Coach Jordan on your staff one day?
Absolutely. We have a few guys I think would make good coaching candidates, and Jordan's definitely one of them. He has a point guard, good leadership, understanding for the game. I definitely could see him as a coach one day.
Awesome. Well, Coach, talk them into the building a little bit here. What can fans expect to see? What are some highlights that why they need to get to the Snake Pit and watch this team in action?
Yeah, it's a fun new team. First of all, we look good. We got good uniforms. We got brand new white, black uniforms.
Speaking on that,
it looks good.
I've been noticing. Did you buy the team sliders, or they just happen to have the same sliders?
They all came with the same ones.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, they all came with the same slides. Yeah, but they do look good. But as far as play goes, tomorrow night's going to be a great test for us. We play Piper. They're state ranked in 5A. They're 7-1. They already have beaten East Central, who's definitely a playoff team in our district. So tomorrow night, I told the guys, this is going to feel like what it's like to go to one of our Clemens, Judson, one of the playoff teams. So we're going to just, a good measuring stick, and then take that and then get into the Snake Pit for 5 games. We have teams from Houston, Brazos Woods, currently 4-0. Huddle's talented. Their record isn't good, but they're talented. They've lost a lot of games in the Dallas tournament. So we have a good field coming in. And just like I said, the guys play hard. They play together. They share the basketball. Ernie can get hot. Some of our players can get hot shooting the 3. So I think they're a fun brand to watch. And now we got one tough guy off the football field, Cameron.
Nice.
So, Cameron just brings toughness, and we had him in practice today. He already makes our team tougher.
Great.
And so I think it's a fun group to watch.
Well, we're excited if we can get those. We're going to try to get those games live broadcasted, right? So we're going to have that going. So maybe some folks can watch some games from their desk at the office on a Thursday, and then get so excited about what they see, they come on out to the Snake Pit and watch it live on Thursday night, right?
Yes.
And so opportunity there this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 opportunities, right, Coach?
Yes.
To watch Rattler basketball in the Snake Pit. So you got to be a part of that. Well, guys, before we let you go, we always give our student athletes a chance to get some shout outs. So we're live on the RattlerUp network. What are some people who you want to send some shout outs to? We'll start with you and work our way down.
Shout out my mom, my family.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, shout out all my family. Just helped me a lot in my life.
Shout out my mom, my 2 little sisters, Jocelyn and Jalen, and then Haley.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thanks for being on Rattler Up. Good luck to you the rest of the season. Coach, good luck to a great 25-26 season.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
well,
you.
we're heading back to commercial break, but when we return, we're going to get back to talking football and go out to the gridiron, look at that 2025 Rattler football season. We'll break it down and more here on the Rattler Up Network. Welcome back to Rattler Up, exclusively on the Rattler Up Network and the exclusive home of Rapid Fire with Creek. And it is that time again for Creek to join us here. He's excited because he's at least somewhat confident that he's not going to be the one receiving the questions this time. There's his logo. He gets his own logo on the show, Coach. We told you he's big time now here, Coach Miller.
That's my guy, Creek. I'm ready for this. Let's see what he can do.
All right, so Coach Dan Miller, head coach of the men's basketball team, is the victim today. And so, Coach, you have 60 seconds. Creek is just going to go rapid fire as many questions he can get in 60 seconds. We got Coach Walsh on the timer, so we'll put 60 seconds on the clock, and rapid fire begins now. Go.
There we go. Favorite NFL team?
Oh, Green Bay Packers.
Best three-point shooter on the team?
Ernie.
Where did Jordan Love go to college?
He went to Utah State.
Favorite breakfast item?
Bacon, definitely bacon.
What's the best city that you've been to?
Oh, man. I'd say New York City because my daughter lives there.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, Shawshank Redemption. It's a classic, but a
Good
good one.
one.
Favorite NBA player of all time?
Michael Jordan.
Best thing about coaching?
Oh, the relationships.
Favorite color?
Green. Purple also, but green.
Favorite bet you've made with a student?
Oh, man. It's every time I make bets with the Cowboys fans, they wear Packer uniforms.
Yeah, I remember my time.
Yep.
Favorite song?
Rainbow Kitten Surprise. I'll go Daddy Yankee.
Best restaurant in San Marcos?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but Garcia's.
Okay. And then favorite memory of your time playing basketball?
Oh, man, that was a long time ago, Creek.
Yeah.
But just, honestly, it was just the relationships with my teammates in the locker rooms, on the bus rides, and still have lifelong friends from that time.
I think that's what makes us coaches. Is
Yeah.
we can't get away from that relationship
Yep.
piece that we felt as an athlete.
Right.
Yep,
Well, great job. Thank you, Creek, for rapid fire again. Thanks, Coach Miller, for
Yes.
being here with
Thank
us
you.
on the Rattler Up Network. All right. Well, all season long here on the Rattler Up Network, we have been talking about each football game, taking you through the season. And now tonight, we want to take a chance to look back on that season and the incredible run that our Rattlers made to the regional semifinals this past Friday at the Alamo Dome. So, Coach, you ready to look back at the 2025 season?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we had 4 pre-district games to get us ready for that district schedule. Like we talked about, that mapping out of getting ourselves ready. It was a big season, right? For so many of our players, their first year on varsity. And we hosted Hutto and Lake Travis at Toyota Rattler Stadium. And then we traveled to play Weiss and Wagner. We got 2 wins in those 4 games. So let's look at the 2 that didn't go our way, Weiss and Lake Travis. Now, you obviously want the win in those games, but what positives did you take away from those games, even though we got the loss against Weiss and Lake Travis?
Yeah, just to kind of cover all 4. Hutto, we knew was a very talented football team with lots of Division I players. So when we got that win and really did it before we almost botched it in a convention style.
It was a 40-27 final, but
Yeah,
it was a little bit more out of hand than that. We
put in
it.
twos, and we were pretty comfortable, but I probably did that a little too early. But after that game, I think that was because there's a lot of question of talking about inexperienced teams. We had that, but that kind of solidified quick that hey, we're a good football team, and then we backed that up and we drop a game we shouldn't have lost, and then you have to handle that. Then we lose to Lake Travis, and they just put it on us. So you lost the game you should have, and you lost the game you shouldn't have, and we played different styles of schemes in those 4 games. So it served its purpose on putting these boys through some adversity that you're going to need later on to get you into the playoffs.
You certainly at that point in the season felt like you had what you needed. You'd done what you needed to do. You were feeling like district was headed the right way, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We I think early on when Coach Allen solidified that we were going to have a good defense. And I'm just going to talk about the way he calls the defense because as a head coach, the way he calls a defense might be the love of my life in football because what the word defense means on the defensive, you got to react. He didn't buy into that. He attacks and he made the offenses have to react to him by bringing so much pressure. Right. Now, as a play caller, it's a nemesis because I don't want to play that defense because one, he's doing it with really good people, and secondly, a lot of coaches want to do that. He had the courage to do it all day long for 13 weeks, and that's what I'm most proud of him and our defensive guys is they dictated the game and didn't just sit back and play defense.
Well, it seemed as though, and we're not in the playbooks of these opponents necessarily, but it did seem like a lot of offenses were making game plan switches by the second quarter. Like Absolutely. They came into the game expecting to do certain things against the Rattlers, and by the early second, they were trying other things. You could tell that wasn't what they thought they were going to do.
And then most DCs see that advantage and it's all right. We got them. Let's back off and play our base defense. And our base defense was come get you, and
even in the fourth quarter,
he didn't back off from it. Did not back off from it, and so I think just going back to that, he solidified we were going to be led by that defense, and the boys did too, not just Josh, but the boys had to execute it.
Right. Well, district got underway, and Rattlers got the road victory and a home victory right out of the gate, defeating Johnson 33-0, and then heading to Clemens to win 30-13. In week 3 of district, East Central would come to town and give the Rattlers their first district loss at just 28-24. And of course, most remember the incident between the teams on the field in that game that resulted in some player suspensions. And then that following week, because of that shorthanded, the Rattlers rebounded with a road win over Judson 27-17. So we talked on air at the time, but looking back, especially as how you see how it fit into the whole season as a whole, how proud were you of how the team handled what really could have been such a more major setback in that East Central game?
That's why I say it all the time. I love the game of football, athletics in general. It's just going to teach these things. And what we learned in that East Central, I'll just say it out loud, they weren't a very good football team. We should have won by 40 points. We're on our way to do that. And then we weren't accountable to each other. And the things we talk about being accountable, being great communicators, we failed each other that night. And the result of the game showed them, look, we have to stick together. We have to do the things the right way. We can't fold just because someone else acts a fool. You can't act a fool with them. So they learned again, and fans don't want to hear that. We're tired of learning these lessons. No, this is, who you are in the end is the sum of all before, and I'm just a silly coach that enjoys. I don't like some of these things that take place, but I like fixing them.
Right, and the lessons were learned as we saw throughout the rest of the year. So then in the final game of October, the Steel Knights, with their 6-1 record and their state ranking, come to town, and they get the scarce 27-21 victory. And for us that were there, we know that there was a 3 or 4 minute stretch there at the end of the first half that the Rattlers like to have back. But how hard was that game? Because on the one hand, what a great game. Steele's been just rolling everybody, and we showed who we were by giving them such a game. But you don't want that moral victory because you were this close to getting the victory.
Yeah, no question. Other than the last game of the season, I still don't sleep well in that game just because, that's when you lose a close game like that. I always say this: if you get blown out, your players just didn't get the job done. You lose a close game, a coach didn't get the job done. So I take responsibility when you lose a 6-point ball game.
Well, the Rattlers will wrap up the regular season with a 20-0 shutout over Canyon, and the playoffs would begin. It started with a home game at Toyota Rattler Stadium as the bi-district round saw the Rattlers defeat Eagle Pass 42-10 in front of the home crowd. Now, Coach, we talked about it back then, but same thing. Looking back weeks later, I think I've heard actually players still talking about 3 weeks later that experience, that home playoff game that had been lacking for so long. Even all these weeks later, it still feels great, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And after experience in a full stadium at Rattler Stadium, And I was game for just flipping home and home all the way out, just because they have a 50-50 shot to get in front of our people is special, because they bring the energy, and the kids sure like playing under our lights in front of our fans.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the area playoffs, then the Rattlers would battle the Rain and Edinburgh High School down in Corpus Christi, and they get the victory 33-3. Another great experience for our team, man. San Marcos traveled. They made their way to Corpus, and not only they made their way, they sat in their car for an hour and a half or whatever it was, and got back in the crowd to make some noise. But what were your takeaways from that game, especially a game that the Rattlers were able to just dominate from start to finish?
Yeah, I think at that point you could tell that our kids were a mature ball club, because a 2-hour delay, you're playing pretty well. Not as great as you want to be, but you're playing pretty well. You got the lead, but 2 hours is a long time, and we were able to get some work done for the first 45 minutes. Then we knew we had about an hour and 15, 20 minutes of just dead time, and to watch them handle it. They played some games, but they weren't. They were controlled. They were just being loose. And but they were together, and so when it was time, the officials came in, told us we're on, and I mean they flipped the switch quick, put their pads on, and ready to go.
Like they picked right back up where they left off when they got back in from the break.
And I'm telling you, to go out, I really thought, there was someone going to go home from that. When you mentioned the crowd, I don't think there was one different seat. It looked like people who were late and enjoying the crowd, because the crowd was still big, and it was much appreciated.
Yeah, it was incredible. So, of course, all of that would lead us to this past Friday night in the regional semifinals matchup against Vandergrift in the Alamo Dome. So, Coach, before we talk about the game, I'd love to know what the players' reaction was when they first stepped foot on the field for warm-ups. They walked in that tunnel and see that field in the Alamo Dome.
I'll brag on our coaches. We talked about not getting stadium whipped, because we've never been in there. And the picture I had, it's been a while since I've been in the Alamo Dome, so the last picture I've had inside was AT&T Stadium, and if you know the difference between the two Alamo Domes will fit in AT&T Stadium. So I was thinking of that grandiose feel when you walk in, and so we really coached that up with our kids. Don't get stadium whipped. Don't be down 10-0 before the game starts. So when we all walked into the Alamo Dome, I saw the kids like, it's not that big, it's just got a roof. So I think our coaches did a really good job of one, they were proud to be there. It's a great venue. We were honored. But we weren't stadium whipped.
Right, and that is huge, because I think a lot of people would – there's been reports of that, especially when you 100%. Get – they say a lot in the 4A, 5A world, because, again, the facility difference across the A's, as you well know, is huge. The 2A schools are playing in our fields for their big night,
Yep.
And so, there's a lot of that happening. So it's good that you knew ahead of time. I had to get ahead of it. So in the game, of course, Vandergrift was able to score 17 in the first half, but the Rattler defense would hold them to just 7 in the second half. But the offense just couldn't get much rolling against a tough Vandergrift defense, and the Rattlers would fall 24-7, ending the season. Coach, what were just your overall takeaways from that Vandergrift before we get into any detail?
Yeah, I mean, one, you're in a 17-7 ball game with the ball in the second half. So you're a talented team, and you have a shot. So it was frustrating not to be able to break that wall down, that we just couldn't get it in the end zone. And the amount of penalties, we've never been a team this year, and we've talked this. When we get behind the chains, we don't put points on the board. We stay ahead of the chains, we put points on the board, and man, were we behind the chains all night long.
Yeah, and you talk about the penalty flags. There's a consistent theme with the false starts. Talk to us about just you were struggling to figure it out during the game, but then even after, like what was what was going on with the false start, especially in those first couple of drives.
Being indoors the sound doesn't go anywhere. It stays right there. So Vandergrift's band did a great job of keeping it loud. They do run a defense that before the snap they stem and move to make you jump. And we knew that, so we changed our snap count. Our snap count is usually, wide 18, set go, and we went to just set go. We didn't want to give them chances. Like break the huddle, set go, and we still just didn't handle the. It was really, it was the noise and not being able to hear. And Buck was screaming, but it's just. We didn't execute it.
Yeah. And Buck just had a hard time having time, right? He had kind of gotten used to having a lot more time. What was Vandergrift doing that was collapsing that line so bad?
Winning. They're just winning, and they do a lot of movement, which causes confusion. Reyes came up. We changed our protection second half. That helped a little bit. when we were just sliding, and but it was a little bit too late, and they were good up front.
It's such a crazy thought, when you think of the seniors, like Ernie even was already talking here just now about basketball, that he knows now that this is the last season he'll play basketball, for those kids that aren't going on to college to play ball. But in a game, in a game where the final game is kind of a blowout, that senior has a moment somewhere in the second half to realize it's over. But this was a game that we were in right till the bitter end. It's not until the final moments. But is there a feel on that field when there is that realization for those seniors as it starts to kind of last game, last football?
No doubt. And you were talking about Buck before that. He battled from start to finish because he was taking a beating because, I ran him. I called run plays with him. And then the pass plays he was having to run. But, man, he never faltered. He's an incredible young man because he never once tried to point a finger. He never once got negative. All he did was come to the sideline with really good suggestions that I actually listened to. But, no, I think about when it got under 2 minutes, it was 24-7. I could see it, because you can feel your fight. Then you can kind of feel like it's it,
Right.
And at that, I remember being in a timeout, and I started walking around to the guys and just tell them to finish, just finish the right way, finish strong. You can be a winner when you lose.
Right. Well, what are your just overall thoughts for the 2025 season, and then what are some things that you look forward to? Because obviously we're now, if the game was Friday, then if I know you, we're 4 days into the 26th season right now.
Yeah, I was there 4 hours into it. If you've seen that Friday Night Lights movie, at the end, Billy Bob Thornton starts turning those that depth chart, the little old pieces with the names on it. I wake up Saturday morning. I've been doing this for 30-some years, and every Saturday morning, I'm going to have closure with the seniors. Today we picked up all our stuff. Tomorrow's my meeting with the seniors, and I'll set up individual meetings with seniors. But Saturday morning, I didn't give myself an hour, and I had the yellow pad out and putting the future seniors and juniors, putting Creek's name on the board, and it's just therapeutic for me, because I don't want to just sit there and do nothing. I want to. We either we finish the season, now we start a season,
right?
But man, the season was. The season was a culmination of an incredible journey, not just the 2025 season, but it's no secret what these seniors had to live through, and not just the 10, but the whole senior class had to live through. And for them to stick together, not everybody stayed. There were some that wished they were not buying a ticket in the stands because they couldn't handle the 3-year struggle.
Right.
And so just to watch these kids get through it. Man, I could write a book on what took place, and just to see the guys at the end of the game. And what I really loved at the end of the game was they were hurting, and I told them at the end of the game, I can't tell you anything to make that go away. It's supposed to hurt. Let it hurt. But man, they were in the locker room. They were so positive with each other. No animosity. They were sad it was over, but man, they were definitely a brotherhood.
Yeah, this is the mix of emotions that sports is uniquely able to bring when you can have sadness and pride
No doubt.
all mixed in. Even talking about it now kind of brings that up. But, well, it's certainly great to relive the excitement of that 2025 season. Congratulations to the players, to the staff, to you, Coach Walsh, on a terrific season.
Appreciate it.
All right, with that, Coach, another Rattler Up is in the books. Before we go, of course, we want to take a look at some upcoming chances you have to catch the Rattlers in action this week. So tomorrow, girls basketball is in the Snake Pit. Your opportunity to get over there and see them. They'll take on Liberty Hill varsity tip at 6:30. Boys basketball, as Coach Miller mentioned, they're on the road to take on Piper varsity tip at 6:30. And then their tournament starts this weekend in the Snake Pit. So we want you to both watch games on the Rattler Up network this weekend, as well as come out to the Snake Pit and watch them live. And the best thing you do is watch them live and have the broadcast on your phone in the stands. That's how you really support Rattler Athletics.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Friday, Rattler and swim in action, and the girls get their chance to travel down to Piper as well with a varsity tip at 6:30. So before we go, we always check in on things outside of Rattler Nation. So, Coach, the Longhorns got the victory over the Aggies Friday, so A&M drops to 7 overall, but are still in all likelihood in the college football playoffs. So the big for Texas football, and I mean the state of Texas, not university, just general Texas football fans, the big talk now is there a case to be made for the 14th ranked 3-loss Texas team to find a way into the playoffs? We talked a little bit about it before we went on the air tonight. What have you seen as a coach as you kind of try to parse through that math? Yeah,
I listened to Sarkisian's post-game pitch for that, and he makes a lot of sense in the fact that he scheduled the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, to play. So I like that piece of it. But, you can't drop to a 3-win Florida team or a 4-win Florida team.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt them. But when you look at the top 14, the only one that I could say you jump over, and they didn't lose 3, is just BYU. They play in a weak Big 12. But I don't see it happening,
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, there could be an automatic bid from a James Madison or a Tulane or something, and I think that's why initially we went to I don't know, my perception is we went to 12 to give other conferences a chance, Then the other guy's going to say, well, we want 7 SEC teams in it. We want the best, So it's debatable. Beauty of college football.
Yeah.
We'll argue it all day long.
Gives us something to talk about.
Right.
Exactly. Even on our show.
That's right.
All right. Well, that does it for this week. As always, we want to thank Coach Wack for running the digital communication program here at SMHS and all the Rattler broadcast studios. And of course, those students that join us and run cameras and do producing and put graphics together and keep us looking good here under the lights, Coach. So for Coach Walsh, I'm Coach Odom. CJ, I'm promoting myself here at the end of the show. Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odom, and thanks for watching Rattler Up.